Wow, this is quite a sight as you come round the corner. All these burnt trees from the fire a couple of years ago. And then up in the distance you can just see all the snow-capped mountains. Wow. I just love the pattern on this burnt tree. It's like a piece of artwork when you look at it closely. It's kind of got a metallic shine to it in the sunshine. It's quite spectacular. I'm above 6,000 feet today and the snow is back. And I've just been looking at all these trees here on this landscape, on this hill. If you stare long enough, it actually looks like a wallpaper pattern. It's so funny. It could just be the sunshine playing funny things with my eyes though. I'm sorry I've not spoken to camera much today. It has been a hard day to say the least. I camped last night at mile 347 where there was a water cache, which was so appreciated, so thank you to whoever did that. And my plan today was to hike 17 miles. And I'm not one that normally plans exactly how much mileage I need to do on a day or try and push myself or anything like that. I usually go with what I want to do. But it's been a pretty tough day today because not only am I walking through a dry section, which means that there's no water anywhere, no water caches. The closest water section from where I camped is 17 miles along the trail, which is where I'm actually heading to. And even that's not guaranteed. So I could potentially get there and find out that the stream's dried up or that there's no water there and I have to continue a little bit further. So I've actually carried out about 4.5 litres of water today. So my pack's obviously very heavy. I've also got 8 days worth of food with me because I'm hoping to make it from where I started back at Cajon Pass all the way to Agua Dulce without stopping anywhere. Most people normally do this section and go off to Wrightwood, but because I had a few zeros there while I was recovering with my calf, I've decided to just do the full hog and do it all in one go without the hassle of then having to go into Wrightwood and back up again, because you do actually lose a lot of elevation by going down into Wrightwood. So we've had that. I've also had my calf injury, so obviously I was off trail for about 3 days, which I'm not gonna lie, I hated every minute of it because I don't like getting off trail, and my calf injury, it got to the point where I was limping, but I knew I hadn't done any serious damage. So some people could push on, but I actually heard somebody, I think it was like a comment that they'd written somewhere about the bravest thing you can do when you're hurt is to get off trail rather than try and push through, because you end up making it worse. So I am so glad I got off trail, because yesterday when I got back on Cajon Pass, I did 5.5 miles yesterday. And it hurt, it really did hurt, but I think a lot of that was a lot of lactic acid that had built up in my calf, as well as it stiffening up. So for 2 days I rested it with the whole ice and things, elevation, you know, the whole rest, ice, compression, elevation technique. And then the day before I came out on trail again, I started walking around on it and doing some gentle stretching. So it was a bit of a rude awakening yesterday afternoon when I started hiking on it, and especially with my bag being so heavy as well. But this morning it was a bit stiff to start with, and I just took it so slowly. And when I say slowly, I was literally going 1 mile an hour. I was going so slow. So by now it's actually got to that point where it's kind of warmed up and I'm feeling quite comfortable. I keep stopping every hour and stretching, so I know I'm doing everything right. But also there's been so much elevation today. So I started at about 3,500 feet, and I'm currently at about 7,500, and I've still got to go up another 1,000 feet to get to about 8,500. So yeah, so it's been a tough day, and then I started getting a headache as well, so I've had to take some ibuprofen for that. But it has been beautiful. The hike up has been beautiful. It has been long, it has been slow going, and I've still got a little while to go yet. I've got about 4.5 miles to go to get to the Guffey campsite, which is where the 17-mile point is, where hopefully the water is. And what I've decided to try and do is do a 20-mile day, because what that'll do is it'll put me 10 or 11 miles before Mount Baden-Powell, which means tomorrow I should then be able to summit Mount Baden-Powell if I get up early enough and get back down again, because I believe that there's a storm due the day after and I don't want to be caught up there when there's a storm. So yeah, it's I'm certainly pushing myself. I feel like it's the right thing to do, and I know I'm being sensible with the fact that I'm listening to my body and knowing how it feels. And if I get to that 17-mile point and I feel utterly exhausted or I'm in too much pain, then I'll stop and I can sit out the storm, maybe before Mount Baden-Powell or after. But that's my plan at the moment, and it changed completely from the start of the day to now, because I was literally going to stop there and then have a really easy day tomorrow and then do Baden-Powell the following day. But sometimes you just got to go with what your gut's telling you to do, so that's what I'm planning on doing. So I am sorry if I've not spoken to camera much today. That is the reason why I've literally just been kind of really focused on going uphill all day in the blazing heat, because it has been so hot today as well. Trying to snack regularly, trying to stretch regularly, and just stay as positive and as happy as possible. But the scenery certainly helps, it really does, and not every day on trail is going to be that happy, fantastic kind of day. I mean, I'm still happy, don't get me wrong, I've still enjoyed the day, but I have found it tough today. It has been tough going. So I'm going to carry on going. I'm going to let you know later how I get on, where I end up, and yeah, I hope you don't mind that I've not been speaking too much today, so I will speak more tomorrow, I promise. I am just having my very first Lara bar, and I had to tell you how amazing it was. It is so gorgeous. It's the blueberry muffin one, and all it's got in it is cashews, dates, apples, blueberries and vanilla extract. Nothing else. And it is absolutely delicious. So if you want to know what to eat when you're out on trail, try one of these. They're absolutely gorgeous, and I'm so glad because I've got about another 5 in my bag, all different flavours, so I can't wait to try the rest. After being out all day with no shade, this section is such a welcome relief. I'm literally walking through like forests. It is so beautiful. The temperature's really cooled down now. I'm above, I'm above 8,500 feet, and I'm about 1.5 miles now away from Guffey campsite, where I believe that you can actually walk 1/4 mile down a very steep hill to get some water. So I'm going to check that out when I get there. And hopefully that's all going to go to plan. And then what I'll try and do is hike another 3 miles up to another campground. I believe it's called Blue Ridge. So I'll try and get somewhere near there. And then that puts me only about 11 miles up to the spur trail for Mount Baden-Powell tomorrow. So I'm going to carry on enjoying this section. It is so peaceful. I've probably only passed about 4 people all day, or seen 4 people. It's been so quiet and eerie today. It's so strange. I've just been walking along and look what I found. Snow on the trail. Yeah, it's back. Now this is a sad reminder that it isn't something to be taken lightly doing a trail like this. It does have its dangers as well. I'm officially leaving San Bernardino Forest and now entering Angeles National Forest. So this is the actual forest boundary that I'm passing. Hey! I'm a little confused by something. So somebody has purposefully come along and sawn off all the bottoms of all these trees, all the little branches, and I'm not quite sure why. I mean, you can see all the branches here that have been chopped down, but every tree's had them all kind of chopped off, and I don't know if it's because of people walking past to preserve the tree life or something. I don't know if you can see this one, but I don't know why. I don't know why they would do that. My first proper post hole where my ankle went completely in and I went right up to my knee and then toppled over forward. But I'm okay. I live to tell the tale. And I'm still going. I'm about just under 2 miles now from the campsite that I'm aiming for. I think it's called Blue Ridge. And so I've just had a Cliff Bar to keep me going, to keep my strength up. And yeah, I'm hoping to get there within the next maybe 40 minutes, something like that, and set up camp, eat some dried food, because I didn't actually end up going to get any water, because you have to hike off down trail by about half a mile and back to go get it from the last campsite from Guffey's, I think it was. And I've actually got 1.5 litres left still, or just over 1 litre. So I'm going to make that last and just to have dried food tonight, not have my coffee in the morning, and just have a Cliff Bar again for breakfast. And then when I get out of camp in the morning, I've only got to go about 3 miles to get water, which is a reliable source. So I'm going to be fine, and I'm going to carry on plodding on to get to camp. Now at home it's unlucky to walk under a ladder. Out here, when a tree looks like this and there's one next to it that's all fallen down and broken, I'm guessing it's unlucky to walk under the tree. I'm taking a detour. I'm not risking it. It'd be my luck that this thing crashes down around me as I go under it. So yeah, safely around the tree. I have survived. Yeah, that doesn't look like it's got long left to fall. Blimey. I don't even know how it's still staying upright. I don't know what's more peculiar, seeing the tree like that across there, or actually seeing all these ski lifts in the distance. I forget that this place is actually got 2 seasons. It's got hiker season and skiing season. So this is an actual area where people come skiing in winter. My campsite's actually making me laugh tonight. I've got all the amenities that I could ever need, and I'm not going to use any of it. Look at this. So I've got places to sit, a little bench. I've got a load of kind of fuel for the fire. I've got a fire pit. And all I'm going to do is go into my tent, eat some cold food, go to sleep, and then get up really early. But I do have an absolutely amazing view because I'm in the middle of a forest, which is absolutely amazing. And I also have a brownie tree. I love the brownie trees.